All right, everyone, welcome back to the Peanut Gallery podcast. Yes, it's been 3 weeks since we brought one of these, and yes, we are sorry, but we're back. We had a couple of things pop up. 2 weeks ago, Brian here was on a business trip out a couple of hours away, so he wasn't there. Me and Dylan did try and record an episode, but I realized after we got done with it that my microphone wasn't recording, so that was scrapped. And then the next week, yeah, Dylan absolutely loved hearing that news. And then last week, my parents went and visited Dylan out where he's at in Maryland. And the night that we were gonna do it, even though they were out there, me and Brian had some pretty bad thunderstorms rolling through that night. So there was like tornado threats and stuff like that pretty much all night long. So I was like, don't really want to be halfway through this thing and have half my house get blown away mid-podcast and risk my life and all that stuff. So we are officially back. We are recording this on Saturday afternoon, as you can tell by the daylight. That's a first for us. I
A
didn't know
lot.
I didn't know we actually did stuff in the daytime, right?
Yeah,
But
no joke.
Who
but
who knew?
right. But yeah, we are back and we have a lot of stuff to go over. So we'll dive right into it, starting off with something that Dylan's got on his shirt and on his shelf right back behind him. That baseball is finally back after a long winter. We're going to keep it mostly Cardinal stuff here to start, but kind of look around the league and not look stupid like Brian. But yeah, Cardinals have played 7 games now. They've played the three against Toronto, three against Atlanta, and now the first
Hmm.
against the Brewers to start the season as we're recording this. Birds
Hmm.
are 2-5. They looked amazing against the Blue Jays and have sucked since. So I don't really know what to think about this team so far. Going in, pretty much the only thing we needed was starting pitching, and I think that's proven true so far. I mean, our bullpen's been awesome. Our
Hmm.
offense has been back and forth, but that lineup over 162 is going to be super consistently good, if you ask me.
Yeah.
We've got, gosh, I can think of like 3 or 4 Gold Glovers off the top of my head just on that team. So, and we've got a sick rookie in Jordan Walker who just looks amazing so far too. So,
Jordan Walker is already doing bits, man, for how young he is. Although he looks like he's 35. Yeah, I'm sorry,
he
but
does not look like a 20-year-old like at all.
no, no. Yes, but he's gonna do bits for the Cardinals. I'm very excited. I feel like once these guys get their chemistry sorted, or I don't know what's going on because apparently we were doing so well in the preseason. We were getting comfortable with the new rules. We were doing everything right, and then the actual season starts and it's like kaplooey. So I don't know if there's like a lack of chemistry. I don't know if it's something with involving the coaches or who knows. But I feel like once they get whatever little thing they have going on wrong inside inside of their little area, their little bubble, this St. Louis team is going to be unstoppable.
I can agree. And I mean, I'm not too worried about it right now. It's 7 games
Mm-mm.
into a 160 something game season. Not a baseball pro, but it's something like that. It's a lot of games. So I think it's gonna find out, or they're gonna find their stuff out. They're gonna start clicking. Yeah, pitching. I don't know if it's just because we follow the Cardinals, but it seems like we have recognizable names, but the pitching could be better. I watched the game last night. We found ourselves with a lot of walks, a lot of loaded bases, like 1 or 0 out situations where it's like, God, you really got to dig out of this. But I think all that will come with time. It's still early. I mean, for some of these guys that were like known they were going to start, this is almost like the second part of spring training for them. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too worried about working the kinks out. We were putting up runs against the Blue Jays. So once we get our offense back, I think the defense will be fine. It won't be something to worry about too much. But overall, the we just had a series with the Braves where they swept us. They look like a very good baseball team.
Yeah, the Braves look like they're coming out swinging. They've had I mean, they won a World Series without Acuna Jr. for the back half of their season. So like this this team has been proven like they've been out here. So it was a little
Yeah.
annoying because that was kind of a like, all right, let's a baseline. How good is this Cardinals team going to be, right?
And then they get swept.
And then they, uh, yeah, I don't know. The offense went cold and our starting pitching wasn't stellar either. So, but yeah, like Dylan said, baseball is like the ultimate ebb and flow style sport. Like you can be on fire one day and then the next just lose it all and wonder where the heck you went
Mhm.
wrong. And it literally could be nothing. You could pull a like you got to turn your hat backwards, put your change from one pocket to the next, and just like all that weird crap just to find it again. Who knows?
It, it it's like how basketball is kind of a game about going on runs, you know, like one team will score 13 points to the other team's 2, and then it'll flip-flop like that back and forth in the games. Baseball is like that, but for entire games through the season.
Mhm.
You're going to go on win streaks, lose streaks. It's going to happen. I feel like nobody from St. Louis ever fears the Cardinals not making the postseason, so I think they're just like, whatever, we're figuring it out. Because
Mhm.
so, you know, it's so common that we'll be in the postseason that I don't think anybody's really worried about it. If until it gets to the point where, you know, we're 30 games in and we're not winning at all. But I think we'll be fine.
Like the Blues.
Hey.
All right. Chill out. Worth mentioning though, the Tampa Bay Rays are still undefeated, 7-0.
Wow.
So
Uh,
they're the last in the league. I think they beat the A's last night to do that. So
Mhm.
last undefeated team in the league.
The Rays are always such a weird team to me. Like they're just so good with how little money they spend. It's like it's unreal. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, their stadium they play in is terrible, but
Well, you know who they
So
have,
ugly.
right?
I don't know
Who do they have, Brian?
who
Who do
is
they
it?
have?
Randy Arozarena, baby. The man, the myth, the best left fielder in this generation. Okay, my bad. All right, we're done. We're done.
Former
I
St. Louis
saw
Cardinal.
Former St.
Rowdy
Louis Cardinals.
Tellez taking some swings last night at the dish for the Brewers
Who was
playing
that?
against the Cardinals. Rowdy Tellez.
Mm.
So this is what I got a beef with, right? The announcers say Rowdy Tellez. It's like in the World Baseball Classic and it's spelled Tellez, right? Brian, that is not, you don't say it Tellez, right? It's Tellez.
I mean,
Mm,
if he's Latin, then surely because the double L is a Y, no?
Well,
the
I
the
work with someone who
the J.
has the same last name spelled the same way. We say Tellez. So I was like,
Tejas.
I was watching the
Tejas.
broadcast. I was like, this ain't right.
Tejas.
This is not right.
Tejas. I mean, it really depends on how he says it because no matter who you are, if you don't even know how to pronounce your own name, like
That's
that's
true.
a problem, you know, because like it's
Yeah.
true. Like if you have a double L in your name, it can go either way, you know.
Yeah.
So it's because here sometimes people say Diaz for my name. Yeah, that sounds gross, doesn't it?
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes
that's
people call me
foul.
Diaz, and then I'm like Diaz because it's E, you know, like the I is an
Yeah.
E. But and then they're like, but they're like Brian Diaz, and I'm like, ooh, Diaz.
Yeah, I guess it just matters where he's from. Like if he was born in like Ohio, then yeah, it's probably Tellez. But
He
like,
probably says
but
Tellez,
if
yeah.
he was born
Yeah.
in Puerto Rico, then or excuse me, Puerto Rico, then yeah, it's probably Tellez. I don't know.
Tejas.
Yeah,
Tejas.
like I don't, it totally doesn't matter. But I heard that and I was like, I don't think that's right. But I mean, if he's not correcting him, maybe that's how he says it.
Hey,
Yeah, exactly. That's because if I would go, yeah, it would make me so mad if my name was actually like Tejas, but they were calling me Tellez, you know, like or something.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
feel
would be
like you
like,
would
hey,
tell your manager or like your agent, like, hey, tell
because
these
it's your
idiots
last
to
name,
stop.
dude.
Yeah.
It's your
fix
last
up.
name.
It's
It's
your
like,
family name. Like that means something to most people.
yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm walking on the pitch and they go, and introducing number 18, Diaz. Ah, nah, dude.
You
Heck
gotta
no.
go back in the locker room and
Yeah, I'm going
walk back
back.
out.
We better restart this.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
we always got Beckman growing up, so makes sense.
Yeah. Beckman sucked. But
Beckelman.
yeah, him and the Brewers, they're 6-1 right now. I watched the game last night and they're a good baseball team too.
Yeah.
It'll probably be us. Well, hopefully, if we turn our things around. The Brewers will probably be at the top of the NL Central, and hopefully we'll be up there too. But Pirates are also 5-2, which
Yeah.
I mean, I never
Yeah, well.
expected, but feels like the Pittsburgh's been in a spiral for years, but
I think they've been good for like a grand total of 5 seasons in their existence. Like it's been the Cardinals and the Brewers for the last 5 years, and it will be for the next five. Like
yeah.
it kind of sucks because we're such a like historic team, but our division outside of Milwaukee stinks.
Hmm.
So who knows? But real quick before we move on, I want to hear y'all's. We won't go too crazy with any predictions. Just give me your World Series picks. Who we think's coming out of the NL and the AL.
Let's see. That's a good one. And I don't
Oh,
want to
so we're
be
making early
Mr.
predictions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what?
I don't want to
Okay.
be
Why not?
Mr. Pete and repeat, but the Braves are very good at baseball.
Braves are very good at baseball.
It's hard to bet against the Braves right now, in my humbled opinion.
I mean, Braves are just they're just the better team right now.
So
Right
yeah,
now, right
we'll
now.
We want to start National League?
Yeah,
Sure,
go on.
yeah, we'll start NL. Man, you know who I want it to be?
Who's
If
that?
it's not the Cardinals, obviously in the NL,
Sure.
I want it to be the Padres, San Diego
Mm.
Padres. And I think they
Padres,
have the capacity to
really?
do it. Yeah, because they're starting to spend money. People are starting to care about their team. You know, they're having fun out there. Like if you watch any clip of like the Padres, they look like they're just enjoying life. Other than the
Mm.
drama with Tatis in the past, or like last year where he was off doing whatever he does, you know. um, the team seems like they're glad that they're building and all this stuff is happening for them. So I would like to see them in there. So I'll
Brian,
go Padres just because I
Brian,
want to.
Brian, you look like you're in pain. I'm gonna go
Oh,
next.
dude, yeah, please, because I hit my elbow on the table and it shook everything and it hurts.
Well, I still got to go with my AL, or do you want to all do? We'll all do NL first. How about
Yeah,
that?
okay, yeah.
Wait,
I'm a little annoyed that you took San Diego because that's who I think's gonna come out too.
Yeah.
I think the Dodgers are still gonna be one of the better teams,
ah,
but I think they're gonna
you
take a
took
step
my
back.
pick.
But yeah, I mean, I think just because the NL East with Philly, the Mets, the Braves, with all those teams, I think they're just gonna wear each other out a little too much
Yeah.
to really make some noise come postseason. Don't get me wrong, I think they're all great teams. I mean, the Mets,
Hmm.
I think if I didn't
Talk about the
go
Mets, baby.
if I didn't say Padres, I'd think I'd go Mets instead of the Braves because I mean they got Justin Verlander now. They're they've always been kind of that next like the second best team over there in that division, so
Mm.
it wouldn't surprise me for them to make that step either. So if I if I had to pick someone else other than the Padres because you took them, I'd take the Mets.
All right.
Mm. And we're not including Cardinals, right? Because
I mean, you
obviously
can
You
say the
can.
Cardinals
You
if
can
you
take
want.
them. Absolutely.
I'm gonna be unbiased here.
And I'm
I'll
gonna take the
probably
Cardinals.
and I'm gonna take the Cubs. Actually, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just
Wow.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go with the Dodgers, man, just because. I mean, they're an overrated team, so they really got a lot of pressure on them, kind of a thing. So I honestly think that somehow throughout the entire season, or somehow they're gonna make it out, or they're gonna be in there again, kind of
That
a
makes
thing.
sense. It makes sense.
Mhm.
Like they're
I
very
can't.
overrated. Don't get me wrong. Like yes, it's very popular, and I'm also saying it because literally all my family is a Dodgers fan.
Hmm.
But at the same time, from what I've seen and how they've performed, like yeah, they're overly hyped, but at the same time, like they can they can feed off that energy and like take it all away. You know, like they'd be like
Yeah.
screw the haters, kind of a thing.
They
Boom.
choked hard last year.
Mhm.
Hard,
Big
But
time. Big time.
hard.
yeah, that was interesting. The fans were pissed about it, but that's neither here nor there.
Mm-mm.
But I
Mhm.
think they're all very possible. I mean, did y'all see the graphic last year? It was like a video of like a line graph of like who led either the NL or the NL East last year, and it was like the Mets were one and the Braves were two like all year until like the last 5 games, and they
Yeah,
swapped.
then they switched. Yeah.
That's why I can't get behind the Mets. I feel like they always got one
Hmm.
goofy thing like that in them.
Maybe their goofy thing was Edwin Diaz busting his knee up before the season even
Oh,
started.
Oh my
they wish
gosh,
that was them
dude.
getting their bad juju out. That's just the beginning.
Yeah, he
Dude.
wasn't wearing a Mets
Ah.
uniform, so it doesn't count.
Exactly.
Dude, that
Double it
was
and give it to the next
wild.
guy.
Oh no.
Oh.
But
That,
yeah,
so
that
in
does
three
suck
months,
for him. He is
so
electric too.
oh man, those trumpets, man. I knew there was it was eventually gonna bite him in the butt because like that's just how karma in baseball works. But like
Yeah.
if you heard those trumpets, there was a good 3 months where it's like, all right, well, let's go ahead and just pack it up and go home because
Yep.
he's going lights out and we got no
9 pitch
shot.
inning. See
Yeah,
you later.
exactly. But go ahead, Dylan, give me your AL.
The AL. I gotta think about this one. I'm not as in tap with the AL because
I have like 3 picks for the AL.
well, you could go basic and be like the Rays are undefeated right now. It's got to be the Rays, but I don't wanna. I liked what the Twins had built last year.
Mm.
Kind of getting into it. They were like cocky little new kid on the block, strutting their stuff. I think I forget his name, but he hit a home run or something, and they were still losing. He's like celebrating around the bags, like you're my son or whatever to the pitcher. Do y'all remember what I'm talking about?
I think I've
I
seen
do
the clip,
not.
but I don't remember the name.
Yeah, and then they lost by like a couple runs or whatever, and the home run didn't even matter. So it was like it was cool, but it was like you got to know your place still, buddy, because they're
Mm.
playing the Yankees, I believe, when it happened. So it would be kind of cool to see them. Um, it would be, who would be really fun too is the Orioles. Oh my gosh, they don't have it this year, I don't
Imagine.
think. But I would love for the Orioles to get over there. It's about their time to get past it. But I think
Mm.
the West feels a little more open to me than, I mean, but who are we fooling? It's going to be the Astros again, right? I mean, I
I
don't want it to
mean,
be.
I can see it. I can honestly see the Astros, but I am hoping that it's not.
Yeah.
But
I just hope that in 3 years' time there's nothing that comes out about this last World Series they won 2 years ago. Because then it'd be like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, in the AL, it's either the Astros or the Yankees for me. Like, there's no other
Yeah.
team in the AL that comes close. Like, there's no one in no one in the Central's making it to the World Series, like, at all. The Twins will probably win that division, but I don't see them doing much in the playoffs. The AL West, I mean, yeah, it's the Astros, the Angels, hopefully.
Angels, that's
I
my pick right
I just
there.
hope that they make like the wild card or something so Tiny and Trout can play
Yeah.
some meaningful MLB baseball. And then the West, like, yeah, it's the Yankees and then the Rays maybe because they always find a way. But like the two best teams are the Astros and the Yankees. You can't convince me
You can,
otherwise.
yeah, always.
The thing that sucks so much about the Angels, you all already know, it's Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani and the scrimmage team against a
The
full
practice squad.
professional. Last night, I saw a stat line last night. Mike Trout hit a home run, Ohtani doubled and had a single, and they were the only Angels players to get a hit. And they lost 4-3 or something like that.
Sheesh.
And I'm like, goodness. That
Yeah,
just sucks.
I think in his first start, Ohtani went 6 scoreless and they lost 2-1. It's
Yeah,
like,
something like that.
dude, you can't score more than one run when you've got the best player in the league on the mound and
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's tough. But yeah, I'm gonna go Astros and Padres.
you got
That's the
yeah.
final.
I got Mets, Yankees. Oof.
Mets, Yankees. I got
Now that-
Dodgers,
Be crazy.
and I'm gonna probably go with the Astros.
What
Yeah.
was it?
Well,
Rematch
well,
2017, right? Was that World Series?
whenever they won,
Yeah, it was
Dodgers
2017, I
won.
believe. No, the Astros.
The Astros. I swear.
Did the Dodgers beat the Astros to win?
I thought they did. I might be
My
completely.
my
Hold on.
baseball knowledge is terrible.
I'm pretty
but-
sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into baseball more.
Yeah.
I'm not a historian. What was the year they cheated?
Oh,
The Astros
2020
cheated.
is when
That
the
was
Dodgers won.
Oh yeah,
what?
because it was the
Yeah,
60 game COVID year. Did they beat the Astros?
I'm looking at it right now.
Who did they?
This is
I
great
think it had.
podcasting right
Oh,
now.
this is amazing. While Brian's looking all that up, how about the rule changes for baseball? How we
I
Love
feeling
it.
so far?
think I
Love it.
think we were early to liking it. People are hopping on our bandwagon now. There was a lot of people. Pitch clock is it's the people who are like real diehard baseball fans are like this is stupid. This isn't how the game's supposed to be played. It's a game of brain power, finesse, blah blah blah. But I see a lot more on Twitter, a lot more on coming out. I see there's a great YouTube channel called Baseball Doesn't Exist. He deep dives into stats and like all this stuff. He's
Okay.
great. He really talks about like the game and not just specifically stuff. He'll break down players and stuff like that. But
Mm.
he had a video titled um, "The Pitch Clock is Saving Baseball" and people hate it because the people who were like baseball stands didn't like it, but the people like us were getting into it more so than
Mm-hmm.
have been loving baseball our whole life. Is kind of it's easier to watch, it's quicker, and it's not
Oh
as
yeah.
like taking time between every at bat, and it's a good flow. I mean, there's growing pains with the calling like strike three because a pitcher didn't throw the
Mm.
ball, like that sucks,
Mm-hmm.
but that's onesie twosie now because I mean it seems like a quick adaptation. So I love the rule. I think a lot of people hated it. We were early. We were like, nah, we like it, and now I think some people are coming around. So I like it.
Real quick, yeah, Los Angeles in 2021 against the Rays actually in 4-2.
Hmm.
That was the final in 2020,
Oh,
the
that's
COVID
right.
year. It
That's
was
right.
but other than that, back with what Dylan was saying, I like it, especially like again for us since we're trying to get into it. I just think it's a little bit more fast paced, and I like the fast pace of it. I like the way that the shot, like the clock and everything. Although I did sit, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I sat with a older gentleman a while ago, and we were watching the game together, and they were very vocal about why they hated it, and they explained it's because why change something that was so good. At the same time, I'm like, okay, but I didn't want to say anything out of respect, but at the same time, I'm sitting here like, okay, I understand why you're upset. Person kept getting mad because they're running out of like it's running out of time. They don't have enough time to like adjust or whatever. But at the same time, like they shouldn't take 5-10 minutes to adjust. Like I like the fast paced thing of it. I love how it's like nonstop going, nonstop
Yeah.
action, and it'll really determine the players not only stamina, but it will really determine how their mental capacity is to work under pressure like that.
Yeah. Yeah. The only gripe I have heard that truthfully I see making sense is how I saw someone compare it to like working out. Brian, if you're gonna do three sets of bench press, right? And you're going
Mm-hmm.
up in weight every time, whatever. 3 sets of 10, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna rack out 10, stand up, drink water, get right back in there and rack out another 10? No. You need
No.
like a second. So
Mm-hmm.
the person I saw explaining it was like, this is more, it's quicker impact, quicker, going through. So we could see more injuries out of it. But I mean, that's not something we're gonna really know till later on. I mean, it's not a secret that pitchers already have trouble with injuries like Tommy John, all this stuff. So it's gonna be interesting to me to see how that ends up playing out. But it's obviously a lot less high impact than like bench pressing heavy weight. But I could see it being a factor, and which is the only reason I would be like, yeah, get rid of it. If we're gonna just kill all our pitchers,
Mm-hmm.
blow out all their arms, obviously it would suck, but there still seems like it's too much time in between for that to happen. But that's the only reason I would see it. Me personally being like, yeah, get it out of here. This sucks.
Because they kept getting hurt. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can back that up with you on that side.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a couple things like with Brian with this other gentleman that he watched a game earlier. I I almost sympathize with him a little bit in the
Mm-hmm.
sense like Dylan would probably agree with me on this. Like growing up watching hockey, that game 10 years ago is so much different to the game as today, right? Today it's a
Yeah.
lot more fast paced. You're looking for more skills and flash more than you are how I enjoy watching hockey. I would assume Dylan's the same way. Is like, dump the puck in, muck and grind, big hits, like so a lot more physical, like fights, things like
Yeah.
that. It's just the game has had same with football. The roughing the passer, still a terrible rule change if you ask us, but like
Yeah.
you're protecting quarterbacks, which in turn generates more offense, generates more highlights, more flash, more flair, things like that. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
I get like, oh, I get this other gentleman's thought of don't mess up, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Because like
Hmm.
Hmm.
come like playoff hockey is the only like hockey I love enjoying watching every single night because it's a lot more physical and it's a lot more demanding.
Yeah.
Just that style of play is something I enjoy watching more. Like so, if there's someone who enjoys watching the slow tactical thought process of a baseball game, yeah, it makes sense that this rule change is something they aren't gonna like slash get used to, kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
like I understand it, but in the same vein, like I said, every other sport has made rule changes over the last few decades to encourage more offense, more highlights, more things like that. So if baseball didn't do that, like you've seen it over the last like 5 years, the viewership has just done nothing but tank. It's been
Hmm.
like awful. So
Yeah.
this one rule change not only has decreased the speed of play by like a half hour ish, roughly, and we're only 2 weeks in,
Yeah.
it's generating like it's faster pace. The pitchers are more likely to make mistakes, generating more offense, more home runs,
Yeah.
more hits. Like in the first three Cardinals games, every single game we scored at least like 6 or 7 runs, right? Like over the course of a season, that's going to work itself out again, like we
Oh,
already
big
talked about the
time.
Cardinals, right? So you
Hmm.
have less game time with more offense, and with the shift being banned, that also helps with more hits and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like because every other sport has gone so offensively driven, it only made sense that baseball was going to do the same thing. So
Yeah.
that's that, and we said it just a minute ago. Like all three of us are trying to watch more baseball now because it's a more appealing to us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, if it's a playoff game, whatever sport it is, like I'm okay with it going 4 hours because it's
Yeah.
like one of the most
It's
meaningful
exciting.
games, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But if it's a Tuesday night in the middle of June and it's game 50 out of 162, like I don't want to stay up until 11:30 at night to watch the
Yeah.
game. Like I will go to bed.
Which makes
I'll just
sense.
figure it out in the morning who wins the game,
Yeah.
right?
But if you know
So
it's gonna end at 10:30, you'll be like, I can make it through the game
exactly. Or even
because it's
earlier.
easier.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So like I understand the thought process of like if this is something you enjoy watching and then it gets changed overnight, like yeah, it's kind of sucks, but the majority of people don't think the same as you. So like unfortunately you're just gonna have to go with it and figure it out.
You can't please everybody. I'm
You
Exactly.
sure
can never
whenever
please
the
anybody.
first hockey player put a little curve on the end of his stick, some old guy was sitting there thinking, that's not how the game's played.
Yeah.
You play it on ice, you keep the puck on the ice. You know, like,
It was
Yeah.
probably a goalie getting smacked in the face. The first person to get
yeah.
pissed off at
But
that.
things evolve, and
Yeah.
it's more often than not when it comes to sports for the better or for what the future generation wants the sport to be. So it'll be more appealing to them, and then it'll be a vicious cycle. It'll become the game we want, and then by the time we have kids and they're coming up, they'll change the rules, and we'll be like,
Oh
"This
yeah.
sucks," and our kids will be like, "This is awesome," and it's
Yeah,
like,
like turn into the old guy screaming at the clouds.
"Yep,
All right, well, I think we gone long enough on baseball there.
I know we
That
went
was
crazy on
that
that
was
topic.
for three guys that don't watch baseball that much. That was a
That
very
was insane. That
in-depth
was intense.
yeah,
baseball conversation. Um, the next thing we got is more American football, which always takes the media by storm.
oh yeah,
Lamar Jackson and this whole saga. Apparently, he requested a trade all the way back at the beginning of March to get out of the Ravens organization. Him and the Ravens obviously have been going back and forth on a new contract. The Ravens franchise tagged him this offseason, every other team isn't even going to throw in an offer sheet for him, which I still don't think makes any sense at all, but maybe there's some backdoor handshakes going on about teams not going after him just because they know they'll have to pay him. Um, Lamar Jackson doesn't have an agent, so that kind of hinders a lot of
Yeah.
stuff too. This is almost, if not more crazy than the Aaron Rodgers story this offseason to me, because I don't know about y'all, but like Lamar Jackson is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, right? So he deserves to get paid like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, no question. But how I I fail to see how any NFL owner is going to fork over Deshaun Watson level money that the Browns paid for him for Lamar Jackson, just because like that contract for Deshaun is so crazy. It doesn't make any sense for him. So, and I don't even know how much sense it makes for Lamar just yet, unless the NFL salary cap goes up a little more, because it's 200 some odd $1 million guaranteed.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of money.
It's a whole lot of
So
money.
I I I get why Lamar feels like he's deserved that money because he's an electric player, but I don't see anyone forking over any of that money for him just yet.
It's such a weird spot with him because I think the team thought they could screw with him about since he didn't have a agent, but
Right.
at the same time, you think about an agent, they probably in any deal in any business because that's what the NFL is at the end of the day, a business.
Absolutely.
Amen.
They're probably, they're coming at Lamar first off with probably a low ball offer, and if he has an agent, Lamar probably never even knows that that was an offer. And by the time the second or third comes where it's like, Lamar would be like, okay, this is reasonable. We can get some more. It's not like you killed a relationship, but he had to hear the first deal and be like, y'all suck. I'm worth way more than that. And it's like a area that not a lot of people are used to because normally that got some other guy who is not Lamar shooting down their dumb idea and they'll be like, okay, we knew that was coming, but you hurt the player's feelings specifically and you've pretty well. It seems like this relationship has been pretty well damaged. The way that
Hmm.
they're like playing peekaboo with him, like, oh, we want to franchise tag you, but the what do they call it? The partial franchise tag or
I think
the limited,
so. I think what he got was just the franchise tag. I think the one that he wanted was the
non-exclusive,
exclusive.
non-exclusive. You got
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, what are he's like? So I'm staying, but you maybe don't really want me. You just want better value for me. Like it's interesting because I don't know who's gonna pay for him. I don't know who's gonna.
Well,
Is
and
he gonna
and
stick around in Baltimore another year, play good, and then he's like, okay, you really can't do nothing about it now, or
yeah. I mean, the Ravens front office would be silly to not do everything they could to pay him as least amount of money as they can, right? Like
yeah,
business wise, that makes sense because then theoretically you could bring in other players in different positions, maybe offer them a little bit more money and have all that like be under the salary cap so you can build a more well-rounded team.
God
Like,
knows they
Hmm.
need receivers.
amen. There's
Uh,
rumor that they're in on OBJ, so who knows? And that's a whole nother thing, OBJ story. But
Yeah,
yeah, Brian, I don't know how much you've read in on any of this, but it's a weird one.
Nothing too crazy. I did see about the like just like how he's requesting and everything, which again, at the same time, I kind of get it. Get your money, kind of a thing. But
yeah.
another point is like who's willing to spend that much.
Yeah, the
Um,
the players got to do everything they can to get as much money as they can because who knows that like football players, who knows how long you're gonna be in the league.
Yeah.
And then
exactly.
yeah, like you said, Brian, like if you're a business and you're not looking at ways to effectively save money, like
Yeah.
you're being kind of silly.
Because I think Dylan said this or you, I don't remember. Someone said it, saying it's a business. I think
Yeah.
Dylan said that. Yeah, it's
Mm.
a business. At the end of the day, it is a business. So I get it, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of risky because who's willing to put in this or who's willing to sell someone who could be of value or whatever. You know, there's so many factors that could come down to it. Um, but That's
Yeah.
the thing that I've seen.
We'll see how it plays out. We got the draft coming up in a couple of weeks, so maybe there's
That's gonna
something going
Yeah,
down
I
with
think
all
both
of them
him
being
and
in.
Aaron Rodgers are gonna wait till they won't move until after the draft because I mean, especially with the Jets and Rodgers case, like the Jets don't want to give up a pick this close to the draft. They've already made draft boards for who they think they'll get, who they might get, or who they would end up getting. So it's like I'd rather give up next year's because we're not worried about that right now. So let's get this draft
Exactly.
done,
Yeah.
cut a deal, do our thing. But in my dumb meatball football guy brain, I think it seems like the only way they can go about this Lamar stuff right now is try to get him a receiver. Hope he plays this year because he could just be like, I don't like you guys and I don't want to play football for you,
Yeah.
which would suck for the Ravens and honestly probably him in the long run because that's a year without football. I mean, you saw Deshaun Watson was on top of the world and then he's out for 2 years because of all these allegations and now
Yep. Hey, but he got the
he
most
doesn't
money
look
in
very
the
good.
league, so
Yeah, but he got his money. But now that's why
got the
it would
money up,
really
baby.
shy these other owners away because he's going to take a year off, you know what?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
but if he plays, get him some help, get him some receiver help, and then hope that it's like, "Oh, we screwed up, but we're trying to help you now, so please come back and
Yeah.
we'll meet you. But it seems like the relationship so beyond repair that even if they're like, "Okay, we can pay you." He'd be like, "No, you guys suck. You try to do me
Yeah.
dirty and then we're like, "Okay, fine." So, I don't know. It doesn't feel real for him to not be a Raven though.
It's hard
He
to imagine him
I
in a
mean, he's only
different
played there since
uniform.
2018, but he just feels like the Ravens quarterback.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see how all that plays out.
we
Um,
sure will.
one other thing that definitely happened while we were away was the ending of the NCAA tournament, with UConn pulling it out in a Final Four with a 4 seed, a 5 seed, two 5 seeds, and a 9 seed, right? Miami and San Diego State were both 5 seeds, and FAU was a
Yep,
9,
FAU was a 9.
and UConn was a 4.
Wild.
Such a crazy tournament, guys. Like that,
Yeah,
there was no number one seeds in the Elite Eight. That was the first time ever that had happened,
Which was
and
awesome.
which was
Awesome.
unreal. And then,
some
yeah,
are saying
like
it's bad for the sport. But go on.
some would,
Party poopers,
yeah,
losers.
yeah, some would not be so smart in
Let
saying
there be
that.
madness. It's March.
Absolutely. Like
Amen.
mo
Amen.
most people say, like, yeah, I want upsets early and then the best teams to like be there at the end and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, but like I feel like if we had tournaments like this as the rule and then like four number one seeds in the final four like to be the exception, yeah, it might be a little crazy, but like last year we had four blue bloods in the final four. Like
Yeah,
you got it, it was as traditional as it got last year. Like let's have a little shake up. Let's do something else. But
Spice it up a little bit, you know?
exactly.
yeah,
Like
I'll,
I'm tired of seeing all these same teams go winning and winning and all this. It's exciting to see the underdogs come up, you know?
yeah.
we say that though, UConn has the most titles of any school over the last, what is it, 30
But
years?
they're the only blue blood type school in it though. They're in the Final Four this year. I mean, San
Exactly.
Diego State never made it to the Elite Eight. I think.
I think UConn was the only team to make it to the Elite Eight that ended up in the Final Four. Like I think FAU and Miami, for sure those three, it was their first Final Four. I remember
Yeah,
seeing that. I don't know about Elite Eight if any of them have been there before,
yeah. I think I might be.
but yeah,
Yeah, I
every
might be thinking Final Four.
people are suggesting that UConn's an official blue blood now, which is kind of hard to argue against. They've got more national
Yeah,
titles than Kansas, Villanova. Um, I think they're on the same or more than Indiana.
Mm,
Like, I can see the argument. I wouldn't see why not, honestly. The only thing
yeah,
I'd argue is that their last three titles, they were a 4 seed this year. The last time they were a 6, and the time before that they were a 7. So like they've never really won from a leading position kind of thing. But I mean, a title's a title. They don't ask how, they ask how many,
yeah. I mean,
that's such a flex.
right?
yeah. Villanova's only won 3, and we consider them a blue blood. No,
Exactly. Yeah.
so yeah. They're a blue blood in my book. I mean, if you got a problem with that, we can talk about it.
Oh,
Just
oh.
not even in a
That's
threatening
fighting
way. It's
words,
like I
baby.
would just ask you why.
Yeah.
Why are they not
Why
better than
not?
Villanova?
Like you could argue Michigan State's a blue blood, right, with Tom Izzo, and they have two, and I think
I
he's
got
only
one.
won one. So
Here comes Brian off the top rope.
You can argue that Vermont is one,
yeah,
bro. Come on, boys. Come on.
They didn't even win their tournament game.
you
I
could
know,
argue that
bro.
Princeton's a bigger blue blood than Vermont because they at least won in their first game.
Y'all are wild.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's funny.
That's good. But yeah, the tournament was awesome.
It was insane,
San Diego
man.
State with that buzzer beater to move to the finals. That was the first time. How specific is it? It's the first time a buzzer beater was hit in the Final Four where the team was losing and then won, right? It was
Yeah.
either every other one before that was they were tied when they shot it and then won, or they were losing and then tied it to like go to overtime. I think that's the
Sure.
specific part of it. I think. I don't know.
I don't
So
know.
great,
All I know is
great
watching it
tournament.
live, I didn't think he knew how much time he had left.
Mm.
It seemed like he was just kind of doing his thing, and it was like, is he gonna shoot?
It's like,
And then he
bro,
got it
you're
off in time, and it was like, oh my God, I didn't think he was
right.
gonna shoot the
Yeah,
ball.
that was the biggest game of chicken he'd ever played in his life.
Yeah, it does suck for FAU. I mean, I'm glad San Diego State got to the final. I mean, even though UConn just dominated everybody, I think it would have got ugly with FAU, like truly ugly.
Mm.
But they had their run, and there's not much you can do to feel super bad about that loss the way it happens. I mean, it's a buzzer beater. Like, it sucks,
Love
but
buzzer beaters.
it is what it is. Yeah,
It's just
buzzer
like
beaters in
that
March.
that energy that I like. I don't care if you were. Yeah, if you were a diehard fan, then maybe you would be upset that they lost, obviously. But like at the same time, you can't be mad, man. Like that shit is just crazy
Especially
that it
when
just
it's defense
happens.
like real close. So it's like really good defense, and the guy just has that touch and just gets it over him. It's
And
like
it's like, oh,
It's the power of
great
that's
podcasting with our visuals here.
I know.
Good thing we're not on Spotify or anything yet.
That would be
Goodness.
so funny.
It's like, why?
But yeah, it's always cool to see like a 9 seed make a run like that, dude.
Hmm.
Or like, I mean, even Princeton winning a couple games is fun, but yeah, what FAU did was special. It was like the ultimate Final Four, other than UConn, of like party schools or like party guys. It's like you got Miami, Boca Raton, you got San Diego.
You got
It's like places
Connecticut.
people go to school to flunk out of on purpose.
Right. Yeah, just to have some fun.
Yeah.
And they do have fun.
They did. They
Yeah.
had fun this March, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, more tournaments like that, please. We'll
Yes.
take that every single year. So yeah, the last thing nationally we got is we're gonna move on to Brian's favorite sport, the old golf. This week is the Masters, of course. Like we said at the beginning, we're filming this on Saturday, early afternoon. Play was suspended late yesterday, so they had to finish up the second round this morning before they kicked off the third round. Brooks Koepka, I need to recheck the leaderboard again, but Brooks Koepka was off to a flying start, finished after day
Yes.
2 with a score of 12 under, and John Rahm was right behind him. He is currently 4 back. I can see it now, the top 5.
Woo.
Mhm.
Dude, Brooks Koepka, like, obviously went to live last year, got that guaranteed money, is really only playing in the majors. That's really all you see of him anymore. But
Yep.
my goodness, like, I really enjoyed watching him on the tour. I was a little upset to see him go to live because I'm definitely a PGA Tour guy. But then watching I don't know if any of y'all saw that Full Swing documentary on Netflix. It's basically
Mhm.
golf's version of Drive to Survive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. He said, like, in his they did an episode with him in it, and he's like, yeah, dude, I've had like 4 straight years of I've either been injured so bad or my confidence is just like at an all-time low. Like, he's like, I don't know if I'll ever be competitive again. So yeah, these guys offered me like $100-something million. Yes, like let me take that. Like, I think he said in an interview after day 1 or day 2, he's like, yeah, if I was this confident and this healthy, I don't know if I would go to live. So who knows? But he's currently
Yeah,
at the top. John Rahm is in second. He's, you know, just been dominating this whole year so far.
yeah,
He's basically Scotty Scheffler last year, except this year, right?
yeah.
And then Sam Bennett, a friggin' college kid playing as an amateur, is currently in third place, solo third at 6 under.
Hmm.
Like, I'd never even seen or heard this kid before, and
That is amazing.
he's in third place in the Masters, like, and he's
That's
23
pretty
years old.
wild.
Like, that's crazy, dude. It's
And what I see here as well, that apparently that Sam Bennett kid you just said, he's still currently attending Texas A&M.
yeah, he's a college
Yeah.
golfer right now. Yeah,
That's so wild.
like, so I know it. I know it's for sure the Masters and the U.S. Open that they allow a few amateurs to play in the tournament. And I think he won like the U.S. amateur last year, so he got the invite this year. Like, yeah, I think I heard that the last time an amateur was doing this good this far into it was like back in the 50s. So like this
Oh,
kid's yeah,
wow.
this kid's like setting history so far.
Yeah.
Like he is,
Good for him, man.
yes,
Holy.
he's doing really
23
well.
years old from Texas, born in 1999.
Yes.
Holy.
Yeah, makes me
A
feel bad for what
youngin.
I'm doing in life. Yeah, so the third round's finishing up tonight. There's a lot of rain and stuff going on right now down there, so
Yeah.
probably won't see too much a change on the leaderboard, but they're calling for nice weather on the Sunday, so hopefully we get an electric finish. Tiger Woods, unfortunately, is currently the worst player on the field that made the cut at +9.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
3 behind the next guy too, so it's a rough
yeah,
look.
he's
He's
pro
+6 on the day, and
yeah.
he's on the 7th hole, so
So,
could get
yeah,
ugly. You hate to see it.
yeah. I mean, it's Tiger Woods. He's the greatest golfer to ever grace the earth. So he's gonna pull a crowd everywhere he goes. You just hope that he can figure out something with his legs. Obviously, they've been bothering him for the last few years because of the car crash and things like that. So hopefully he can sort of figure something out to where he's playing good golf and not just kind of being there for the numbers. Because seeing Tiger Woods at the top is like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, I know Brian's got a lot to say about it also.
That's wild. I really am interested in the Sam Bennett kid because again, I'm that one guy that loves a great underdog story. I love anything that comes from like nothing into something like that. That makes me feel so great. I mean, we've done so many podcasts now that that's probably already a given. Like if someone is at the bottom, I'm always gonna root for them. Kind of like a Vermont
Hmm.
situation. Same thing with the
Yep.
Sam Bennett situation. Like there's just something about a kid coming into this and showing everything up. Like the little research that I did on the Sam Bennett kid, he just says, "Why wait until I'm older when I have the capacity of doing it now?" Like one of
Yeah.
his quotes, and then like, dude, it's really interesting me to the point where I mean, I'm rooting for the Sam Bennett kid. You know, like that underdog, that kid who's making history. I mean,
That would
hell
be
yeah, take
something.
first. You know, it'd be
That would,
yeah. I mean, and all the interviews he's saying like I can go out and win this thing. I can say, don't wait to do something whenever I have the capacity, you know, like all this kind of things. It just makes me
Yeah.
feel so good about someone
he's
like
got the confidence. That's without a
that.
shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know he was one of the later starts today, being that he was higher on the leaderboard, but it's the third round. He's +2 on the day already, as recording, obviously. And he's on the 6th hole. So not a great start, right? But he's still standalone in third place.
Hmm.
Like he's not starting great and he's still in third place. Like if you know, that's I mean, that's an age thing, you know, if or a experience thing. If you can compose yourself and be like, all right, you know, don't worry about that. Play your game again, you know. Golf is up and down. He could get hot. Kepka could get cold. It would be crazy. And I mean, he's top 5 on the third day of the Masters. How
It's
many people can say
unreal.
that ever? Let
5.
alone an amateur from Texas A&M. Like
True.
Yeah, no lie. Thank you, Brian.
every year, idiot.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to see the. I'm pulling for Kepka just because I enjoyed watching him,
I think he
and
can do it.
yeah, hopefully he can have the confidence to close her on out. But that brings us to our local bit. Obviously, because we missed 2 weeks, we've got two City SC games to go over real quick. We'll go chronologically before Brian blows his head off. So City went to Salt Lake to take on Real Salt Lake 2 weeks ago. Obviously, the boys came through with a 4-0 victory. Uh, Went into half at 0-0. Roman Berkey with probably the save of the year for him so far.
Oh my
Individually,
gosh. What
that's
a save.
that save there in the dying moments of the first half is probably honestly what won us the game because if it was literally 30 seconds before halftime. So if we went into the locker room at the half down 1-0, that's a whole different story to how the second half goes. And then the boys came out, just a couple of small tweaks, and right off the bat, Joaquini gets a goal from a corner kick, literally 90 seconds into the second half. And then, shoot, I know João Klaus gets two, Rasmus Alm gets the fourth, and just cruise. Like, Real Salt Lake is one of the hardest places to play in Major League Soccer just because where they play in Utah is very similar to how Denver, Colorado is with altitude. So you have that to come into play as well. And the fact that the boys just came through and smoked them there in that second 45 brought out a huge bit of character for them. And João Klaus with an absolute screamer. He ended up
Ooh,
he ended up winning goal of the week on a half volley that snuck into the bottom left corner, and I believe that was the second goal.
That was the
That was
second
the
goal. It was the
second goal.
66th minute because he scored his first goal in the 61st minute. So coming into the 66th, it was that screamer, and I was
Yeah.
like, I remember it because I was just freaking so
Oh, it was great.
like in awe, man. I was like,
Mhm.
holy. I was
yeah,
like,
it
is
was.
anyone gonna
Yeah.
tell you?
I only caught the second half, which was actually worked out perfect
Yeah.
The
because
best,
it
yeah.
was a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, I mean the
Mhm.
boys were fire, and it was like, we had scored. The João Klaus got his first. It was the second goal of the game, and I was like, all right, I'm pretty cool with where we're at. Let's ride it out, because I mean in soccer it seems like a 2-goal lead in the second half is like more often than not, just keep your head and you're you're gonna do all right. And then we tack on two more, and I'm like, all right, that works too. Defense by offense. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a great game. That was, I mean, we'll get into the most recent game, but that game was still amplifying what City has done about keeping the pace up, playing, forcing the other team to play your game, and yeah, just being in your face, not letting you think.
And
Yeah.
that's what I love about this team so much is like they force you to do these mistakes. And we were not the better team that game. The entire game, I'm gonna be completely transparent here, but we were not the best team. Um, we won, which is awesome, but we had less possession, we had less shots on target. We just we weren't the best team, but we have this pressure that we like to put against others that it forces them to do these things where they're like, well, I don't know what to do against this situation, puts them in a weird situation, and we just get a great goal. I saw a thing on Twitter saying like, oh, João Klaus only gets goals passed to him. What's the same thing with the Holland situation in Man City? He gets these passes in because he's there at the perfect time. It's not just
Hmm.
it's not like oh, he's lucky. No, it's a strategy. Like you're telling me that I mean it's like playing chess. You're right there, perfect timing. You're ready to strike. Boom, you were there. You were the better
Yeah,
person. It's not nothing else. Like all these haters on Twitter and Instagram and everything makes me so fun. It's so funny whenever I see them because I'm like, the entire thing. They're like, I can't wait for them to go against a real team and blah blah blah. And they were rooting for our downfall because Real Salt Lake is a really great team. Like, don't get me
yeah,
wrong, they're a good team. So whenever we did that to them, it's like, oh crap, like
Yeah,
we're the real deal.
it always amused me after that Salt Lake game. Everyone's like, "Yeah, play a real team." It's like, okay, well, our very first game was against Austin in Texas against a team
Mm.
whose was projected to be top two, top three in the Western Conference. Beat them 3-2. Next game, first home game was against Charlotte, and we won. Sure, Charlotte sucks this year. Like, let's be honest, they're not going to be that good. So, okay, sure, you
Yeah.
can have that one. And then our next game, we go away to Portland, a team who at the time was very injured, so fair enough. But they're we playing them in Portland.
The fans in Portland are
You're going up
crazy.
against one of the fortresses of the MLS. Beat them 2-1. Come home to play San Jose. San Jose, they're also were projected to finish in the top five of the Western Conference this year. They looked so scared as soon as they walked into that stadium in St. Louis. So, like, we have, even though we'll get to it, even though we've lost a game at home, like, our stadium is a fortress. I'm convinced of it already.
Yep.
After San Jose, you go to Salt Lake. Again, another team that had injuries, but same thing. You're in Salt Lake. You're going up against another fortress, not only because of the fans, but because of the altitude and all that. Like,
Yep.
those first 5 games, like outside of Charlotte, I'm struggling to find a team that isn't a suitable opponent. Like, you can't call those 4 teams soft or bad
Mm.
at all. So, like, yeah, at that point I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then obviously the next week we are home against the one of the 4 teams at the time left to have lost or to have lose a game, English, and end up losing to Minnesota United 1-0 off of a penalty kick in
Penalty. 78th
the
minute.
78th minute. Thank you, Brian.
Terrible.
I'm gonna say, even going back to the Salt Lake game, the officials in both of those games were trash. They were very bad. Um, Obviously, like I said, we ended up losing 1-0 on a penalty kick to Minnesota. If you go back and look at the replay in that game where the penalty occurred, Kyle Hubert takes out Jake Nerwinski's foot, not the Minnesota guy's foot, and the Minnesota guy just flops like a fish out of water, and they get the penalty kick. Kyle Hubert went on the local sports radio station this past week, and he said, like, yeah, like I was begging the ref, at least like have VAR look at it, right? Like that's what it's there for. At least take a look at it. And they're just
Yeah.
like, no, we don't need to. It's a penalty. It's like you're just gonna openly say that, like you're going
Yeah.
to
Crazy.
like. I get that you shouldn't look at every minute thing on VAR because then you're gonna have a baseball situation where everything gets drawn out, right? But like
Yeah.
that's a penalty kick. That is
That
a
is a straight up-
In
game-changing
the
moment
78th minute.
in the latter half
Yes.
of the game. Like, look at it for 3 seconds if you're that confident and say, yeah, it's a penalty. But at least say that you looked at it before
Yeah.
you just go with it. So I don't know. I mean, we ended up losing a game to a team where I don't necessarily think we played better or worse than them. They did so well to have so many players like looking at like their defense was just so compact, like we couldn't get anything going, which just sucked, right? Because
Yeah.
like we're the best goal scoring team in the league right now. So not getting a goal, it's like, what's going on here? This is new.
Yeah.
So
What they did to us was truly the first time, in watching these games that it felt like we can't do what we want. Even beforehand when we didn't have the ball, it was like, okay, we're moving around, we're shuffling, we're forcing the issue, pressing the envelope. We were not in. I wouldn't say they had full control of the game, but I wouldn't say we had control of the game we wanted to play.
Mhm.
And it was that's why it was low scoring because I mean, we're gonna score points, but sometimes goals go in and all that. But it felt like I mean, obviously you can say this because without the penalty it would have been 0-0, but it really felt like the game was going to end in a draw because it was like neither side is cracking and neither side can really get it in. So it felt like an evenly matched game. It sucks no matter the situation, good call, bad call, whatever. It sucks to lose because of one penalty kick, but can't change it now. I think the boys will be back. If I think they play again. They have to, right?
Today.
tonight they're playing
Oh
tonight.
well,
No,
But
no, no.
against
Yeah, it was
Minnesota,
they played
Oh,
yeah,
Minnesota.
Minnesota
Yeah, yeah,
tonight.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I think,
They played 2 times in the season.
yeah, I don't think they'll forget. I think they'll be back, and
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good game. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it sucks.
It's yeah, it really does suck because that was the game that I was like, okay. I even texted Drake this. I was like, this is going the way that they were playing. Yeah, you could argue that it was gonna be 0-0, but dude, they both were so aggressive towards each other. It was, I remember texting Drake. I'm like, hey, like, there's going to be a winner. Like, I don't think this game is gonna go into a 0-0. Like, they both are going aggressive, and going back to it, we were the better team in this game. We had more possessions, we had more passes, we had more shots on goal, we had everything. But one little mistake that turned into a disaster cost us a whole game.
Yep.
With that side of things, yeah, it kind of sucks. But to me, and again, this is just me being biased as well, but I don't see it as a loss. I see it as a okay, one little mistake cost us this, but at the same time, we're just you know you can't change a ref's mind. You really can't, no matter how powerful, no matter what. I mean, unless they paid them, which I'm not saying that they did allegedly, but I'm just saying it's just
Wow.
yeah,
That's fair.
I'm just
What's that clip? Football is not corrupt.
but yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, cool, we made a mistake, but I think we're gonna bounce back. I still think that loss, yeah, it sucks that we're done. Like in the sense we're not an undefeated team anymore. Our history run is over, but at the same time, we're still top of the league. We still have this great momentum going in. One little penalty kick is not going
Yeah.
to affect us for the rest. Like the games that I'm really scared of, like Seattle. Okay, this is going to be a great game tonight. I'm just saying,
Yes.
Seattle is phenomenal. They're right behind. They're
Yeah,
either
they
it's
are.
LAFC. Oh, it is.
Nope. So yeah, so tonight it's 1 versus 2. Yeah, so the yeah, I agree with Dylan. Just real quick, finishing up
Yeah,
on the
yeah, you're good.
Minnesota game. I agree with Dylan in the sense where like, yeah, the possession was in our favor and small things like that, but like there was no dominant thing that happened during the game that
Hmm.
suggested to you that one team deserved to win, one team deserved to lose. Like I said it before that this is the way that we play is it doesn't matter win or lose, it's going to be entertaining, right? So you're bound to I failed to see us drawing like hardly any games this year just because of our style of play.
Yeah.
But this was one game where it was like, okay, yeah, they figured out how to unlock our press, and they also figured out how to lock down their defense whenever we were
Hmm.
attacking. And it was pretty much the exact same thing going against us coming on defense. Like Roman Berkey really wasn't tested. I think he only had a couple of saves, if any, and like our
Yeah.
defense was sound enough to prevent them from having any real threats as well. So I think a 0-0 or 1-1 would have been fair, but yeah, that's in the past. The boys all week, I've been trying to follow like they do press conferences on their YouTube channel and
I
a
see
couple of the
that.
different writers and stuff here in St. Louis. I follow them on Twitter and stuff. Apparently, this week it's been like one of the most competitive weeks in training to date. Even though most of these players started with us last year with City 2 just to kind of familiarize each other with each other. So
Mm.
I'm to bring it to tonight, going up against Seattle in Seattle at Lumen Field. Seattle, they came into the league in 2009. They've been arguably the best, most consistent team. Let me get that out in the MLS since joining. They've obviously won 2 MLS trophies in the what is that 14 years they've existed. So
Yeah.
they yes,
They're a great team. They're a
it's
great team.
it's 1 versus 2 in the Western Conference. Like they are going to be a great test for us tonight. Obviously, they have Jordan Morris up top, scoring 8 goals in the first 6 games.
Dude.
Like if you can shut him down, you've got a good chance. But you've even got guys like Leo Chu in the midfield. Obviously, their defense is stacked because they've got 13 out of a possible 18 points to start the season. So, like, do that with say what you will about that. It's going to be a great test for the boys. I don't know if a lot. If we lose in a similar fashion to how we did last week, I would argue that's a moral victory. But obviously, I'm hoping for the 3 points here.
Dude, just because right now we're the underdogs, looking at all the stats, the statistics from all these people, obviously, it looks like the win probability. Seattle has us at 60, St. Louis has us at 18, and then the draw is 22. Um, this is going to be the biggest test in my opinion because Seattle, even like whenever they were first founded, like they had a great run. Like we are doing the same thing we that Seattle did back in 2000 or I don't even remember. Just whenever they first were a part of a team, like we're doing what they're doing pretty much. So this is really going to be a test to see how our play style can go against Seattle. It's going to be a great team versus a brand new team. They're both living on a high. It's number one, number two seat. For some reason, I thought it was LAFC who was number two, but I think they're number three. And yeah, it's gonna be that's gonna be the test. Seattle, LAFC, Atlanta, and then there's someone else on the Western Conference that are going to be uh, our biggest. Oh, Atlanta, Cincinnati, and then for us is going to be Seattle and LAFC. Those are going to be the biggest test, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've got not to look ahead to next week, but we've got FC Cincinnati coming to town next week, who between what is it, Cincinnati, Minnesota, and LAFC going into this match day 7 tonight are the only three undefeated teams left. So
Undefeated,
even
yep.
even if they lose tonight, like they're going to be another tough challenge for us. So say we're playing bad teams now, like this is the real test here tonight.
This is going to see what
next
happens
week.
with how we can adapt to those pressures now on us, because we're usually the
Mhm.
ones doing the pressuring, but now this is going to be a test to see how it pressures onto us and how we can adapt.
Mhm.
I'm excited.
Got anything, Dylan?
I actually have breaking news if you guys would like to
Ooh.
hear it.
Let's hear it.
Ooh, yes, please.
Breaking news for the St. Louis area.
Ooh.
The first overtime victory in the history of the XFL belongs to the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Let's go.
St. Louis
No
Battlehawks have
way.
defeated the Vegas Vipers in overtime for the first time in XFL history.
Let's go.
Live on this podcast.
Live on podcast. How about it? Yeah, that's sick. The Battlehawks, man, they are Stan Kroenke's spiteful
Holy crap, 21 to
stepchild,
17.
and St. Louis is eating it up, man.
Oh yeah.
I think there's 2 more games left in the season. I might have to splurge on a ticket to go to one of them games,
You
man.
might have to go up there, yeah. It looks like
Dude,
someone. The fans are crazy. There's like super
Yeah.
fans out there already.
It
Dude,
sucks that
love it.
I saw a graphic on Twitter the other day, like when you look at the home attendance between St. Louis and every other
Yeah.
XFL home stadium. I want to say it's Vegas. They average like 6,000 fans a home game. It's like
Yeah, we're
and
carrying the attendance.
every other team I think averages somewhere between like 10 and 12, 13,000 a home game, wherein you got St. Louis averaging 38,000
Yeah.
per home game. It's like, gosh, dude, the XFL, they need to move to cities where they almost need it.
They need a team in San Diego.
You need a team in San Diego. You can move Seattle or Vegas out there. You need a team in Birmingham. Like they've always been good for spring ball leagues. You could put one in Oklahoma City. You put one in like Omaha. Like I'm sure cities like that don't have a high level
Yeah.
sports team. Like why not? Salt
That is
Lake,
pretty awesome.
Salt Lake City. That could work.
How do you think Des Moines, Iowa would do? I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know. Because you've got Minnesota and Wisconsin right there.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Dakotas over there as well are empty. So you could maybe have fans from over there. That would be interesting. I'm sure for at least a year or two they would come out just because it's something new
Yeah.
and something close.
Yeah,
then-
it's also like St. Louis is really the only facility that is like dedicated. Like I mean, the
Yeah.
Seattle Sea Dragons play in
They play in Lumen, where the
Lumen
Seahawks
Field,
play.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's like everybody knows it's the Seahawks Stadium, but this is like the Battle Dome, you know? So
Exactly. Yeah,
The
it's
Battle
sick.
Dome.
That's
The
right,
Battle
baby.
Dome. But
Now I was
yeah,
gonna say one more thing on the St. Louis side of things. Today's a great day for St. Louis because obviously you had the Battle Hawks, they won. Next
Yep.
up we have the Cardinals, and then after that we have the St. Louis Blues, and then after that we have the soccer game.
yeah.
yeah,
We
that's what I was gonna say. All the four. Well, I mean, not. I
four
guess not
major,
major.
four major sports.
The four
You
major
can't-
St.
yeah.
Louis sports.
Yeah. I mean, football's a
Are
major
playing
sport.
today.
You could say sport, not league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soccer is the most major sport in the world, so
Exactly. Yeah, the Birds obviously playing the Brewers again tonight, and then yeah, the Blues taking on the Minnesota Wild tonight. Um, I'm not gonna sit here and say I hope they lose. I'm not saying that.
I will.
I didn't say it. I didn't
I
say it.
did. I did. I hope the Blues lose tonight. Yeah, it's very. I don't know if that makes me more of a fan than you or less of a fan. I think that makes me more of a fan than you.
I'd argue the exact opposite, but
Nah, because I want
hey, I never
the
said
team cannot
hey,
succeed this
whoa,
year.
whoa. I never said I wanted them to win. I
What
never
did you
said I
say?
wanted I said
Tell me
I'm
what
not
you said.
I'm saying I'm not saying I want them to lose. That's all I
Mm.
said.
What are they gonna do? Draw? This isn't
Yes.
soccer.
Bring back late 90s hockey where you can tie. No, it's such a weird one, dude, because like obviously you don't want to see your team lose. Like that goes against every
Yeah,
single thing you're taught in sport and in life is losing. That's the one thing you're taught not to do, right?
but we're
But
thinking
like
bigger picture here.
you are thinking bigger picture. The St. Louis Blues scouting department is so good that I'm confident in whoever we pick in that whatever draft pick we get. Like, obviously, if we get one, we're
Yeah.
gonna take Bedard. But like, if we end up getting
Oh.
3 or 6 or 10,
Please.
like, I'm confident in whoever we pick is going to turn out good. Like Robert
Yeah.
Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, like these guys have been good. So it's a weird one. Obviously, if we lose, we get a higher pick, which in turn could mean a better player. But if we win, that means morale and like cat.
Or excuse me, but screw the morale,
Like,
man. Like we just
well, but
need to rebuild, bro.
not
We
not
just
even
need.
necessarily morale, but like you look at guys like Kasperi Kapanen, Jacob Vrana, like these two guys got brought
Chemistry
in
and like
chemistry,
yeah,
like confidence for the players kind of thing.
yeah, personal gain stuff.
That's what I mean. Like it's we're like in one of the worst spots, like because really we can't get a like if we win our last 3 games, I don't think we can get any worse of a draft pick. But if we lose these last 3 games, we could get a better draft pick. It's a weird spot that I hate being in, and I hope we never have to do this again. But
I hope I tell you this. I hope we lose our next. I hope we lose the rest of our games, 11-10. So we've
yeah,
got the
okay,
guys
yeah,
scoring
there you
goals
go.
and building
Yeah,
confidence, but we still lose.
yeah. That's
You know?
fair. Kind of like how the Chicago Bears were at the second half of their season last
Yeah,
year.
you think any of them wanted them to win the last game? Come on
Yeah.
now.
No.
They're real fans. They did not want that team to win,
Yeah, they wanted Justin Fields to look good, but lose,
which
and that's
happened.
exactly what they got. So
Justin Fields play out of his mind, but the Bears still suck enough to lose,
yeah,
and they did that perfectly
yeah,
with heat.
yeah, fair. But
So
then what about goalie confidence if we're giving up 11 goals a game?
trade him. It doesn't matter.
Trade Bennington. Yeah, fair.
Trade them. Don't trade my
that-
boy.
That's a hot take.
That is, yeah. I don't mean that, but
Good.
or
We
do
have
I?
the most hated man in the league. Like I want to keep that guy. We got
I
the
know.
love
We.
him
I feel
so
like we
much.
took that title from
Brad
from
Marchand
Marchand.
and Tom
Yeah.
Wilson and Nazem Kadri
and
all
it's our
them.
goallie too. You know
Yeah.
he's
Love
he's
him.
doing something really right
Love
or really
him.
wrong.
Mm-hmm. He's the new
That's my dad.
It's the new Patty Waugh. My
That's my
goodness.
dad, dude.
Hey,
he
you gotta
gets
wear your heart on
traded,
your sleeve. If
that's
you're
gonna
not
be
mad
filled
at
with Bennington.
your failures, you're not playing hard enough. And if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
It's
Amen.
only illegal if you get caught.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Drugs.
No.
Oh, I thought we were all on the same page here, guys. What the heck? I'm
No,
like,
All right. Well, I don't
Yeah.
really think we got anything else. I didn't ask either of you before if you had any like last second like random topics. If you get,
I
I
got
don't have
nothing.
any. I don't know if either
Talk
of
I
y'all
about the
got
got
Blues
nothing.
for like another 3 minutes. Let me try to think.
one.
Or Brian, try to think. Got a brainstorm here. I don't know. This is probably just bad podcasting at this point.
It's the end.
Hey,
Yeah.
we took a lot of time talking about the Cardinals at the beginning, so it makes up for it. It makes up
Right.
for it.
Yeah. I think the only person that's still watching right now is our grandma. So hi, Nani. Hope you enjoyed.
Hi, Grandma.
I'm
Thank you
Brian.
for the birthday card again.
But yeah, I mean, y'all ain't got to rack your brain around it. We can call it there and
We'll do
come up
two
with
next week. How about
we can
that?
come up with with a couple
Ooh.
things next week. Um, yeah, cool. So yeah, like we said at the start, we're back. We're not gone forever after 6 episodes. So hopefully there won't be a 3 week break between this one and the next one. Um, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this week's episode. If you did, drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Brian, as always. I appreciate the both of you very much for doing this with me. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. Take care and peace.
See you guys.
Follow your dreams.